China Current is a weekly news talk show from China to the world. We cover viral news about China every week and also give you the newest updates on China's cutting-edge technologies. Let's get started.
Welcome to China Currents, your weekly news report on what's happening in China. I'm Lisa. In this episode, a huge port that will change the history of Latin America opened in Peru. 10 Chinese EV makers launched new models at Guangzhou Auto Show. China launched moon soil bricks to the space.
Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China receives 40 orders at Zhuhai Airshow.
The British Museum gets more stolen goods. First, let's look at how Latin America is running to wealth. On the 14th of November, the Chancay port, a joint venture between China and Peru, officially opened for business. And this holds revolutionary economic and political significance for Peru and Latin America. Economically, the opening of the Chancay port has led to a substantial reduction in both time and cost associated with transporting goods from Latin America to Asia. Before this development, South America lacked convenient deep-water port along its Pacific coast. Goods from countries like Brazil, Colombia, and Peru must pass through the Panama Canal. However, the Panama Canal has a limited capacity for having only 32 cargo ships per day on average, and a significant portion of this traffic is occupied by US and European companies, which severely constrained South America's exports. Moreover, the canal has imposed insurance fees ranging from 60,000 to 200,000 USD per ship, which significantly drove up the export costs. In contrast, the Chancay port has direct access to the Pacific Ocean, and this reduced the time needed for ships to travel from Peru to China from 35 days to 23 days. With 4 docking sites and an annual capacity of 1.5 million TEUs, that's 20-foot equivalent units, the port can handle an extra 300 fully loaded cargo ships per year. This translates into an average daily export of over 40,000 tons of goods to China. With a depth of 17.8 meters, the Chancay port can hold ultra-large container ships carrying 18,000 TEUs, establishing itself as a vital transport hub and logistics center along South America's Pacific coast. According to reports from Chinese official media, this development is expected to save Peru over 20% in logistic costs, generating more than 4.5 billion USD in annual revenue and create over 8,000 jobs opportunities. China has also built a complementary road network for the Chancay port, such as a tunnel connecting the Andes Mountains to the Pan-American Highway. This allows goods from Brazil, Colombia, and Venezuela to quickly move from the Chancay port to any countries along the Pacific coast. The port is expected to increase the trade competitiveness of Latin America across the entire Pacific region. From a political perspective, the opening of the Chancay port is a major victory for the people of Latin America in resisting US hegemony, and signaling that Latin America is the US backyard is just a wishful thinking of the US politicians. However, the construction of the Chancay port was not without its challenges. Despite the continual support for its construction from former Peruvian president, the US has hyped up concerns about the port. In October 2023, the American think tank CSIS claimed that the US government was very concerned about Peru's national security. The Financial Times cited statements from General Laura Richardson, the US Southern Command, alleging that the Chancay port could definitely accommodate Chinese warships, suggesting that Peru could potentially be used by the Chinese Navy as a foothold in South America. In response to the objections from the United States, the Peruvian foreign minister pointed out that if the United States was concerned about China's growing presence in Peru, then the US should increase its own investments in Peru. The situation worsened on the 1st of January 2024 when the Peruvian National Port Administration announced that the exclusive operating rights granted to COSCO Shipping Group in 2021 were a mistake and should be revoked. This decision was based on the Peruvian Congress' view that the Port Administration did not have the power to grant the exclusive rights to companies. However, this exclusivity was crucial for attracting further investments from COSCO. If the contract was to be broken, COSCO would be held accountable to its investors, and the Peruvian government would likely face significant compensation claims. The Chancay Port project, which was intended to be a win-win for both China and Peru, was now at risk of becoming a lose-lose situation. Based on China's non-interference policy, this dilemma was left for the Peruvian people to resolve in their own terms. Fortunately, on the 13th of May, Peruvian Congress passed an amendment to the National Port System Law with a vote of 68 in favor, 24 against, and 4 abstentions, confirming the Port Authority's right to grant exclusive operating rights to companies. On the 24th of June, the Peruvian Congress announced that the government lawyer had formally requested the judge to dismiss the civil lawsuit against the Congress, legally safeguarding COSCO's exclusive operating rights over the Chancay port. This once again boosts confidence in investors associated with COSCO Shipping Group, allowing the Chancay port to finally proceed with its original plans. On the 14th of November, the opening of Chancay Port was officially announced by the leaders of China and Peru. A gateway from Latin America to Asia opened. However, according to a report by Bloomberg on the 16th, Mauricio Claver-Carron, an advisor to the transition team, was not pleased. He claimed that any product going through Chancay or any Chinese-owned or controlled port in the region should be subject to 60% tariff, as if the product was from China. In response, Chinese strategist Professor Wang Xiangsui pointed out that for the US to improve its economy, it needs to rely more on constructive means rather than just impose tariffs. The main reason US manufacturers have lost competitiveness and, in some cases, the ability to produce certain products is due to significant deindustrialization. The process resulted in a large number of technical workers and engineers leaving the workforce in the US. As a result, the US manufacturers cannot quickly rebuild the industrial supply chains and technical expertise needed to produce these products. Imposing tariffs on Chinese products will only make them more expensive overnight, ultimately driving up the cost of living for Americans. According to a CNBC report from 2021, the US bears over 90% of the cost associated with these tariffs on Chinese goods, which shows that Trump's tariff policies have hurt the US economy. Unfortunately, it appears that the Trump administration has yet to learn these lessons. This situation may also explain why Latin America is more inclined to see economic cooperation with China rather than the United States. Not only has the US government been unsuccessful in undermining the port, it has also failed to hinder Chinese EV manufacturers. On the 15th of November, the 22nd Guangzhou International Automobile Expedition kicked off. The 10-day event has drawn more than 80 automakers worldwide, showcasing a total of 1,171 vehicles. Among them are 68 global debuts and a remarkable 512 EVs. According to Time Finance, 22 new models were unveiled at this year's auto show, including 10 from domestic Chinese brands. The lineup features 9 gasoline cars, 10 EVs, and 9 hybrids. Notably, Chery's iCar V23, an all-electric SUV with a starting price of just $15,000, has secured over 31,000 orders in less than 24 hours after pre-sales opened. Meanwhile, Xiaomi made its debut with the high-performance electric car, Xiaomi SUV 7 Ultra. In less than a year, this Chinese smartphone manufacturer has quickly risen from being just another newcomer in the EV market to a name to remember. On the 27th of October, its SU7 Ultra prototype lapped the Nürburgring in 6 minutes and 46 seconds, setting a record as the fastest 4-door car on the track. According to Road and Track, this time has surpassed the Porsche Taycan Turbo GT's record. Xiaomi CEO Lei Jun, who has recently gone viral on Chinese social media, said that the new car would be faster than Tesla Model S Plaid. According to Reuters, Xiaomi's EV deliveries in China have reached 10,000 per month since June and hit more than 20,000 vehicles last month. Just a day before the auto show, Chinese Association of Automobile Manufacturers, CAAM, announced that the country's EV production has hit 10 million units for this year. This achievement comes against the backdrop of Western sanctions targeting Chinese-made EVs. Interestingly, the sector most heavily targeted by Western restrictions have instead become the fastest growing and most innovative in China's development. For instance, China's largest automaker, BYD, brought its 3 independence brands to the show. Last month, it released its financial results for the first 3 quarters of the year, reporting a total revenue of $70 billion, a 19% year-on-year increase. Notably, its revenue in the 3rd quarter reached $28 billion, surpassing Tesla for the first time. Moreover, in September alone, BYD sold nearly 420,000 vehicles, equivalent to its total sales for the entire year of 2020. As Chinese electric vehicle sales skyrocketed, there are also good news from China's manned moon project. On the 15th of November, China launched the Tianzhou 8 cargo spacecraft. The supplies include various equipment and materials for scientific experiments. Notably, one of the experiments on this mission involves bricks made by China's moon soil. These bricks will undergo tests to assess their strength and durability in extreme environments and to observe how they perform in the vacuum of space. China plans to build its International Lunar Research Station in the 2030s. If these bricks prove suitable for construction buildings on the moon, China will be able to utilize local resources to assemble its lunar research station. This will greatly reduce the transport cost and emission of China's lunar base. Next up, let's move back inside the atmosphere. On the 17th of November, the 15th China International Aviation and Aerospace Expedition came to a successful close. China's homemade C919 passenger jet has once again captured the world's attention.
C919 is a narrow-body airliner developed by Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China, COMAC. After C919's flight demonstration, COMAC received 40 orders from Hainan Airlines.
Hainan Airline was originally a loyal customer of Boeing, owning more than 118 Boeing-produced passenger aircraft, and this C919 order marks a historical turning point. This is largely related to Boeing's recent product quality problem and management scandals. On the 8th of January 2024, a door plug blew out of Boeing's 737 MAX 9. Several U.S. airlines have also found loose screws later in their purchased or leased Boeing aircraft. Similarly, safety concerns were identified even on the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's Boeing aircraft. In Boeing's newly delivered carriers to government clients, tools, trash, and even empty tequila bottles were shockingly discovered. According to a disclosure by China Eastern Airlines, the published price for the C919 is $99 million, or approximately 653 million yuan. This makes it more affordable than similar aircraft like the Airbus A320 and Boeing 737 MAX, which cost over $100 million. In terms of performance, the C919 is more fuel efficient than the Boeing 737 and Airbus A320, which will also save the airline a significant amount of money in the long run. More importantly, in China, people responsible for the safety of the C919 can be held accountable for their actions, in contrast to Boeing whistleblower John Barnett and Joshua Dean, who raised concerns about the company, died in 2024 after speaking out. If Boeing doesn't respond convincingly, we'll see more Chinese airlines make the same choices as Hainan Airlines. Moving on, the British Museum also lacks self-reflection. On the 13th of November, the British Museum received a donation of approximately 1,700 Chinese ceramics from the David Foundation, a private British museum. The collection includes highly significant pieces associated with the Ming Dynasty's Chenhua Emperor. The David Foundation's founder acquired these artifacts in the early 20th century, when the Eight-Nation Alliance invaded China, burning and looting the royal palace in Beijing. Therefore, for China, these artifacts symbolize a historical injustice that remains unresolved. In addition, the British Museum's professionalism is also doubtful. A former museum employee recently told The Independent that security measures in storage areas are shockingly inadequate, with no effective oversight for the movement of items. Over the years, there have been frequent burglaries at the British Museum. Ancient Roman coins vanished in 1993. A 2,500-year-old Greek statue was stolen in 2002, and over a dozen of Chinese artifacts, including bronze mirrors and armor, disappeared in 2004. Most recently, in 2023, it emerged that hundreds of items were lost over the years due to poor management. For other masterpieces that the UK stolen from Greece, Ghana, Ethiopia, and other Global South countries, it's never too late for the British Museum to return them to their motherlands. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching this episode of China Currents. If you have any thoughts or comments about our show, please reach us at the email address below. We look forward from hearing from you and see you next time.